I'm Leslie Satcher, and this is another great episode of ETX Rocks featuring my great friend, the amazing Erin Enderlin.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks, ETX rocks.
All right, hey guys, we are here with the 268th episode of the ETX ROCKS Show, and guys, we have a huge treat for y'all out there now. I have a Mount Rushmore of songwriters that are my favorite songwriters, and we've had three of them on the show before. Of course, we're talking about Leslie Satcher, Heather Little, and Sean McConnell have all been on the show, and the fourth member of my Mount Rushmore is Erin Enderlin, originally from Conway, Arkansas, and she's joining us on the phone today. Erin, how are you doing today?
Oh, man, that's a pretty stout list to be a part of.
Yeah, I can imagine, but you definitely deserve your spot there, I think. You've been doing this a long time, right?
I have been, yes.
And I guess, what really kind of catapulted you forward was while you were in college. Monday Morning Church was picked up by Alan Jackson and kind of put you on the map immediately, right?
Yeah, he recorded that during my spring break of my senior year.
Wow. Just incredible stuff for a songwriter. I mean, growing up, did you even know that you could make a career out of just writing songs?
Well, I had a guitar teacher when I was 13, started taking guitar. I'd taken piano before that. But he had done some work with some Nashville artists and such, and when I was asking him about helping me, I wanted to get better at being able to write the melodies that I was hearing. And he was like, that you can, do this. This is a job people do. And so that's where I first got tuned into that.
Yeah, and, you have allowed us to play a couple of videos here as part of the episode. And the first one that we're going to play is actually a co-write between you and Heather Little, who's a very good friend of ours. And this song has done really well for you on country music television. It's called Ain't It Just Like a Cowboy. Tell us a little bit about this song and how it came to be.
Yeah, that was the first time I wrote with Heather, I think. We got together over her publishing company, and it's kind of funny because I remember we were writing in this room upstairs, and I think it was kind of like a junk room or something. I don't remember the boxes and random odds and ends, which kind of seemed appropriate for visualizing a songwriter's mind.
Yeah.
But we got together, and it was in the evening. We'd already written that day, both of us with other folks, and we got together, and we just wanted to write something that we loved. We didn't want to have to think about, who would this be good for? Is this one thing or the other or whatever? We just wanted to write something we loved, and I think we did, and it's one of my favorite songs. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, it's a great tune, and I mean, we've heard this live from Heather on multiple occasions, and it's cool how both of y'all deliver the song so well individually, and hearing the story behind how it was written. Was this the first time you guys ever co-wrote together?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, I
think it was the first time we'd ever met.
That's incredible stuff. But yeah, man, guys, we're really excited to show you this song. It's Ain't It Just Like a Cowboy. It's completely acoustic from Erin Enderlin. Y'all check it out.
There were daisies in a coffee can, sitting by my bed when I woke up. I love you written on a note beside my favorite cup. His boots weren't in the kitchen, and his old hat was missing from the door. I sank down and that empty chair been here so many times before. Ain't it just like a cowboy to see inside your heart? Say all those pretty things, start pulling all your strings till you're tangled in the dark. You ride up on that white horse like he's there to save the day. But ain't it just like a cowboy to ride? It's probably going to Tucson or Abilene or somewhere in between. There's something in those motel rooms you just can't find with me. And here's a part where drinking is easier than thinking about what he's doing tonight. He's holding her like he held me. God, I should know better than to cry. 'Cause ain't it just like a cowboy to see inside your heart? Start pulling all your strings, say all those pretty things till you're tangled in the dark. Ride up on that white horse like he's there to save the day. Oh, ain't it just like a cowboy to ride? Oh, ain't it just like a cowboy? Ain't it just like a cowboy?
All right, so we are back once again. This is episode 268 with Erin Enderlin, and we did mention Leslie Satcher a little bit earlier. Y'all heard her voice out there. She actually introduced this episode for us, and good friends of yours, right?
Yeah, she's just an incredible talent.
Yeah, agreed. And super humble, down to earth girl
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. So it was a big week for you. You just won Album and Songwriter of the Year at the Arkansas Country Music Awards. That had to be huge for you.
Yeah, it was really cool, especially because it's the first awards that they've had there, and so it was really cool to get to be a part of that. And they were honoring some of my heroes, including Johnny Cash, and
Yeah.
so just to have like your name in the same vicinity as Johnny Cash is pretty cool.
Yeah, we were trying really hard at the last minute to get up there, and just fell through at the last minute and really tore me up. And then I see your picture today that Tanya Tucker was there. I had no idea she was supposed to be there.
Yeah, she was a surprise guest to honor Ed Bruce. She sang Texas Wanna Die, which Ed wrote, and
Right.
He got one of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, so that was really cool.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple of interviews with you over the last couple of weeks of researching and stuff, and one of the things that really stood out to me as a huge fan of songwriting is your take on perspective within songwriting and how important that is. I would love for you to describe what you mean by perspective to maybe future songwriters that might be listening.
That's a good question. So what exactly are you referring to?
Okay, for a lot of songwriters don't really delve into the character behind the people in their songs. which is something I think you're really well known for, is actually creating a character within your music, and take it on different perspectives within those characters, whether it's her perspective or his, or you're just tackling it from many different, viewpoints. And a lot of folks don't really do that. So why is that important to you?
I don't know. I just have always really loved story songs, and I like things that are gritty and real. I don't feel like everything necessarily needs to be tied up in a nice, neat bow. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And also because a lot of songs, they capture a moment. And we all know that even as people, we change, we evolve, we have different thoughts and perspective on events in our lives. And it may be different looking back on something than while you're going through it. And I just like to get inside that moment as much as I can for that character.
As a performer now, there's a wall between being a songwriter and then being a performer. Do you feel that, do you think it's easier to connect with an audience as a performer, or harder if you change the perspective of the song?
Well, I mean, I think that the best performers, they are, a vehicle for that character.
Right.
So I don't know if it's necessarily harder. I think you're right there in front of somebody and you're, bringing them that story and bringing it to life. So, I think that's a huge part of the song, is that experience, that actual bringing that music to life.
Right. And the reason why I ask that is because I'm just listening to your music, both recorded and live. Your delivery on songs is just spot on, whether it's a cover or a personally written song. As a performer, how do you find that connectivity to a song? Because, I mean, the connectivity to a song is important in order to connect to an audience. So how do you as an artist find that connectivity?
Well, I think just like being a writer, you bring parts of your life, your experience, and your perspective to things. One of the really interesting things about art is that no two people are going to experience it the same.
That's true.
Because you're a part of that experience. And, it's really interesting. I've often wondered what it would be like to be able to experience other people's perceptions and experience of those songs, or a piece of art, or a movie, or a book. And, I think you just find something that connects with you based on your life, based on your collective story. And I think if it moves you, it will most likely move somebody else. It might not be exactly the same.
Right. It might not be in the same way, but it'll definitely connect. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Striking that chord, that emotional chord. Because, there's something about music, really, even that, people who don't speak the same languages can intuit emotions through music.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. It's just bringing yourself.
That's a cool way of looking at things, for sure. Especially from my perspective. I don't play, I don't write, I don't do any of that. I'm just a huge fan of music.
So we need lots of those.
Yeah, I agree. Especially more in the country genre. And you are very, very country. You've been well known and well spoken about your love for traditional country music. Was that just kind of, was that just kind of ingrained in you as a kid, and, being from Arkansas?
I mean, I think it's just a lot of the things that I fell in love with first. And I mean, I have different tastes too. And there's no real rhyme or reason. If you look to Erin Enderlin's catalog of CDs and albums, things that surprise you.
Yeah.
But that is a particular type of music that I really gravitate towards. And, I love the emotions in it. I love the rawness of it. I love the instrumentation. And it's just, something I fell in love with. And it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate other things. It's just really what gets me going.
Yeah. And, I have to mention to folks out there, 2017 was probably I mean, of any artist of any genre, you had a huge year last year with the release of your incredible CD, Whiskeytown Crier, which I think made every single top 20 albums list of any publication anywhere. So I mean,
feel like you're exaggerating, but thank you.
Well, I mean, I've been reading a little bit about you, and I think Rolling Stone had you in the top 20 even. And it's just an incredible record, and it's kind of a concept record as well. It was produced by Jamie Johnson and Jim Moose Brown, and of course, Jim being over, I think he's in the Muscle Shoals area, right?
No, he's in Nashville.
Is he in Nashville?
Here, but,
okay.
Jim is one of the most talented people I've ever met. You know, he sings, he writes, he plays pretty much every instrument.
Yeah. I know he's a member of Leslie's band as well. So he does it all.
Yeah, he's in Bob Seger's band too.
Yeah, I think he's the band leader for Bob Seger.
Yeah.
Even. Yeah.
He just, I can't really underestimate how much time he spent on this record. So definitely there wouldn't be a Whiskeytown Crier without him.
I would love to hear about the early stages for this record and kind of tell me your thought processes on, maybe what songs made the record and kind of the process of getting it put together.
It's probably less organized than you might think, and maybe less organized than I would do now. But it worked out okay. When I had a single out on Leonard, I decided that with that money, I wanted to really seriously invest in myself and make the record I would always wanted to make. Something that, just 100% that I could be proud of, and no matter what else happened, that I knew that I had accomplished that, put that music out in the world. And that single allowed me to have a budget for that. And Moose and I have been working together for a long time. Jim Moose Brown, that is.
Yes.
There's confusion with the names going back and forth. But, we've been working together for a long time, and I don't exactly know how it happened, but I feel like he was talking to Jamie about it, and Jamie was interested in being a part of it, and he brought a really great vibe and just a knowledge of that emotional connectivity to the session. Also really held my feet to the fire in terms of being like just completely true to myself, do what I want and not worry about, is this commercial, is this not commercial, does this fit what's happening right now, et cetera, et cetera. Because at the end of the day, obviously there are rules there and, rules made to be broken and whatnot. But if you're not making something that really moves you, that's not, if you're thinking about too much about other things, you're not going to make something that's worth anything.
Exactly, yeah.
And they just started to bring my favorite songs in the studio, and we started cutting stuff, and we got players that I had played with all those players before on demo sessions, or rather had them play on demo sessions. And so I loved what they did, and that, collectively we brought those songs to life. And
you did bring in a couple of all-star male vocalists as well.
Oh, yeah.
I believe
Jesse Alexander too.
Yeah. I think Randy Houser and Chris Stapleton are both on the record, right?
Yeah, and Ricky Skaggs.
Ricky Skaggs, yeah. Geez, must be nice, right?
I mean, I tell people I just felt like a kid in a country music candy store.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's really a humbling experience too, because I'm very aware that not everybody gets to do that, and it took a lot of work and a lot of effort, not just on my part, but a lot of other people to make it happen.
Is there a moment in time in your mind where you feel like you belong in that mix? Like to have your name mentioned, even in like my own personal Mount Rushmore. I mean, do you feel like there was a moment where you kind of look back and say, you know what, I belong here?
I don't know. I think it's the ego with any kind of creative output is an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we all have days where we think we're great and days that we think that we're trash.
Yeah.
But, ultimately I think you have to be proud of what you're doing. You have to feel good about it, or else why are you doing that, and why would you expect anyone else to want to listen to it? But at the same time, I don't think that there is a, I didn't start doing this thinking, oh, I'm going to be in this set of people, I'm going to reach these goals. I have a voracious love of country music, and I have certain ideas in my mind about what that means to me and what I love, and I just work really hard to try to bring that to life.
Right. And you did mention briefly about commercial appeal. Do you struggle with that? Like, as a writer, when you're
like
sitting down,
financially?
well, not financially, like creatively, just, sitting down to write, is that in the back of your mind? I need to make this commercial?
I mean, I have in the past, I've tried to make different publishers happy with some things, and also try to stretch yourself, because you don't know, if you're not trying something different, what you could be missing out on learning in the writing process. But ultimately, I've never been very good at anything except writing the best song that's in the room that day, trying to just figure out what that is and be a vehicle for it.
Wow. That's a great way of thinking about it, because I know a lot of, independent artists, independent songwriters are really struggling with identity versus commercial appeal, staying true to yourself, but also trying to make, as many people out there happy as possible. And that can be a really rocky bridge, Well,
Emmylou Harris has a quote about if you sell your soul to the devil, you can't ever get it back. So in terms of like the creative process, but if you have to decide what you want, and if it's your core and what you want and who you want to be, if you try to go against that and you do have success, whatever that means with that, are you really going to be happy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's for each individual person. But I do know that I'm more in love with country music right now than I have been probably in the last 5 years. And I feel in a really great place creatively, and feel really good about the work that I'm doing. And I think at the end of the day, that's really the measure we're looking for, right?
Absolutely. What's changed over those 5 years that's kind of broadened your love for country?
If I'm being honest, there were some years in there that were kind of hard. I recorded this album 8 years ago, and
wow.
It's been a tough process, and there's been a lot of changes in music. And I'm not just talking about what type of music is popular,
mm-hmm.
but even in, songwriters pay. Let's be honest, I think that streaming is a wonderful vehicle. It's a wonderful technology, but it's any way you cut it, it's just the fact that it is not paying wages to songwriters. It's a livable wage.
Right.
And it's really changed the face of music business. And I'm not saying that we don't all have to look at, okay, what do we all need to change to do this? But, it's kind of disheartening. And it's kind of disheartening when the music industry is making good money, but it's still somehow in the mix isn't getting trickled down to the people who are actually the foundation of the work.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing, and hopefully, I have seen some legislation and stuff like that that's, I guess, trying to help in some ways, but
yeah, and I think a lot of people want it to change. I don't think anyone is out to create a model that's not going to be sustainable. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Because without the songwriters, music dies. It's not there anymore, and we've talked to, probably hundreds of songwriters on this show already. And, you're not the only one that's disheartened by it. There's, hundreds of thousands of folks out there that probably are reconsidering their art. And that's a sad thing as a fan, to even think about,
Yeah. And I firmly believe that, music is so important, and songwriting and artistry, that it's going to find a way. It's just that we're kind of in a weird time where that's all kind of working itself out.
Yeah. It's just a unique place to be.
Yeah.
So, one thing that we've been following you, I love the country music story, live Facebook videos that you put out. Really kind of shows your quirkiness and your personality. Where'd you come up with the idea for that?
I just really tried to. Social media is not something that I grew up with.
Right.
Totally different experience than I had with artists that I looked up to. And I guess for me, the biggest thing with it is, I do enjoy that I get to reach out and talk to people directly. I get, people that are listening to my music, they're connecting with my music. And I just want to try to be myself.
Yeah.
And talk about things that I love, that I'm passionate about, and hopefully other people connect with that.
Well, I think it's cool because you do have a pretty large fan base out there, and it's a very active fan base as well. So,
yeah.
It's cool to kind of get to see a different side of you. I'm a fan of yours, and really without those kind of videos, all we have to go by is your music, which is a great thing. But it's cool to see the other side of Erin Enderlin, the goofy, quirky, self-deprecating Erin Enderlin that's just, wherever you are at the moment is when you decide to put those out. And I think that's really awesome. It's almost like a reality TV show, man.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I know you just went on tour with a good friend of ours, Kayla Ray.
Yeah.
Another phenomenal songwriter out there. If you're listening and you haven't heard of Kayla Ray yet, you need to check her out. She's incredible. But yeah, you guys were all over the place, and the video I remember is the one where you guys are standing at the rest stop in front of the map and trying to figure out why you booked it the way you did.
Yes, it was quite the journey.
It's like, what was it, like a ping pong table? You guys had to go to Nebraska and then Iowa and then back to Nebraska.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. So how did you and Caleb meet?
We met at a writer's round in Lukenbach, Texas. So
Wow.
You can't believe that.
What are the chances? That's awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like if you meet someone in Lukenbach, you just are required to be friends.
Mm-hmm. We didn't get to see any of those shows. I hope you guys are planning on doing that again.
Yeah. We've actually been touring together the last 3 Mays, and it just keeps growing. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully whoever's booking those tours for y'all will bring y'all to East Texas next May. That would be cool.
Yes.
I'd be okay with that. So what's next on the agenda for you? Are you back in the studio, or are you just writing, or what's going on?
I'm working on, actually I booked myself, and so I'm working on getting getting more shows up and going, and I'm working on some new music and some new content too, because I like it's fun to get creative and get to do cover songs that I want to do, and just kind of expand on the album that I have out.
Yeah,
because you only get to release those once in a while,
Right. Do you feel any pressure? You know how critically acclaimed the current album is. Do you feel any pressure in following that up?
I don't know.
Because
is that a simplistic answer?
No, it's pretty simplistic. It's a good answer though, because everybody loves this record. I don't think I've read one review on it that was like, "Hey, this is crap. Don't buy it." Everything has been positive about it. If I was in your shoes, I'd be like, "Man, I gotta make something else after this. Something's coming next." But yeah, no is a good answer.
I've been working on some stuff. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. And I think, I think people that like that record are going to be pleasantly surprised, and maybe they'll even like it better. I don't know, but I think it'll, just add to what I'm doing in a great way.
Very cool. So yeah, we are going to play another song from Erin, and I had to play one that had a little bit of a connection to East Texas. The song's called "The Last Call," and it was actually cut by Leanne Womack, who is from the Carthage-Jacksonville area here in East Texas. Yeah. So I'd love to hear your story behind writing this one.
Well, I wrote that on Halloween, actually. And my co-writer, I think it turned 10 years old this year.
Wow.
My co-writer and I got together, and he was telling me the story about taking a number out of his phone, but still knowing exactly who it was every time it popped up. And we started playing around with a couple of chords, and we pretty much wrote that song from the top down. And I talk about, like, my favorite writing appointments is almost like a zipper. You know how you're each just feeding off of each other's creativity, and you really get on the same track in that same zone and bring that idea to life. And that's what happened.
Could you explain to folks out there that may not know what writing from the top down means?
From the first line of the song.
Yeah.
Down the last line of the song.
Yeah, because some songwriters will hear a hook in the middle and they'll just build the song around it. And the reason why I asked you that is because when we had Leslie on the show, she basically told us that she writes every song from the top down. And I thought that was interesting. But we're really excited to show our listeners this song. It's live, and I believe it's completely acoustic, too. It's Erin Enderlin with The Last Call. Y'all check it out.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
I recognize your number. It's burned into my brain. Felt my heart beating faster every time it rang. Some things never change. That's why I didn't answer. I bet you're in a bar, listening to a country song, glass of Johnny Walker Red, no one to take you home. They're probably closing down, saying no more alcohol. I bet you're in a bar, 'cause I'm always your last call. I don't need to check that message. I know what it says. Baby, I still love you. Don't mean nothing when there's whiskey on your breath, and that's the only love I give. So if you're calling, I bet you're in a bar, listening to a cheating song, glass of Johnny Walker Red, no one to take you home. They're probably closing down, saying no more alcohol. I bet you're in a bar, 'cause I'm always your last. Call me crazy, but I think maybe we've had our last call. Oh, I bet you're in a bar. It's always the same old song, and that Johnny Walker Red, by now it's almost gone. Baby, I won't be there to catch you when you fall. I bet you're in a bar, 'cause I'm always your last call.
All right, so we're back, and I basically got one last question for you, and it's not really a question. I would love to hear what's your best advice for a young songwriter that might be coming up in the business and wanting to make a go of this?
I think you need to be passionate about it. You need to be passionate enough about it that you're going to be persistent. And I don't mean for a day or a week or a year. It might be decades. And I would just say, try to be yourself. It's the hardest and the easiest thing to do. But as a writer, to me, in my opinion, the best thing that you bring to the table is you. How you say things, how you see things, your experience. And that's really unique. No one else has that. So to me, that's what I'd focus on.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because every single person has a different set of influences, a different path, so to speak. We all grew up with different music. I mean, one person might be Tom Petty and Janet Jackson, who knows? And then another person might be Tom Petty and Eddie Vedder, and it would be a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Just based on who you listen to and who you like. So, I think that's great advice. Just be you and let you shine through your writing. Awesome stuff. Once again, it's episode 268 with the one and only Erin Enderlin. Incredible album, Whiskeytown Crier. Tell folks out there where they can follow along with you on social media, and what's your go-to place for folks to get your music?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Erin Enderlin Music, which is ERINENDERLIN Music. And I have a link to my store right there, or you can go to my website, which is just erinenderlin.com, and I have the store there. And you can find me on Instagram at Erin Enderlin and Twitter.
Okay, awesome. And we'll definitely put the link to the webpage down there in the description below for you folks listening. Once again, it's erinenderlin.com. Erin Enderlin Music, I believe, on Facebook, and I think it's just Erin Enderlin on Twitter and Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. But
to make it easy, I'm just going to put it in the description below, and you can hook up with her social media right there on her webpage. It's all linked there. And also, I'd like to point out that YouTube, you have a phenomenal YouTube as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Erin Enderlin on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on that. And again, Whiskeytown Crier, it's an incredible album. Each song is like a character, or different characters rather, in the same little town setting. If you're into concept albums like I am, or storytelling songs, and you haven't heard of Erin Enderlin yet, definitely check that out. Are you okay with folks streaming the album on Spotify and stuff like that? I know you did that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's, like I said, I think it's a great technology, and I think that we're all working towards that working for everybody.
Right. Okay, cool, because I know it is on Spotify. It's a major part of my playlist. Of course, we do own the record as well. I wanted to thank you personally for sending us that, signing it and all that. It's got a prevalent place on our wall of fame where we film. And so, again, this is episode 268. If you're tuned into us for the first time, you can follow along with everything ETX Rocks. We're located at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ETX Rocks. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. That's the best way you can help us out. Also, we have a donate link set up for you folks out there that would like to support us financially and help us out a little bit. That's at www.paypal.me/ETX Rocks. That would definitely help us out. And it's because of y'all's donations out there that we just launched a brand new webpage at www.etxrocks.show. And that has over 10,000 hours of content from all kinds of different independent artists. And, of course, all our full-length episodes, including Erin's, which will be up there in July. Not too long after this airs, it'll be on there. So make sure you're checking that out. And as we always say on the ETX Rock Show, we want to thank you guys out there for always supporting live music of all genres and all styles. And don't ever forget,
ETX Rocks.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX